the Radioddity GS-10B. They had a GS-510 before this, I think, and that was a pretty cool radio. So what I have come to find out with Radioddity GS radios is that those are, oh, that's hard to get out of there. Those are the analog radios, and like the DB are the digital radios. So, and then the GA, yeah, they have a weird naming convention, but if you sit down and think about it, it does start to make sense. We've got that super secret FBI earpiece. I don't use these. Do any of you guys use these things here? Not me. USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and what I have found out with this is that what that means is that this is technically a USB-A device. It's a USB-C shaped connector. So if you take a USB-C to C cable and you plug it into a C charging device, sometimes it won't charge. So as an example, there's a light there, so it should light up. This is my USB-C plug, and it is plugged into a USB-C charging thing, and it may or may not work. It all depends. Yeah, see, it's not working. And that's okay. It's not supposed to work. I mean, like, we would think it's supposed to work, but like technically it's not supposed to work. So let's do their A to C cable. And the reason is that, I don't know if this is gonna reach on camera. 75% of the time. Plug this in, there we go. And that's charging. I don't know if you can see that red light on there or not, but that guy there is charging, and that's because it's the A to C thing. What it's called is PD, power delivery, PD trigger cables. And so that's what's happening, is that this device doesn't have a PD trigger in it. So you're not going to get the communication back and forth between the USB-A and the USB-C thing in order to get it charged. So if you, long story short, I told you all that to tell you this. If you have a device that has a USB-C socket on it and you plug it into a USB-C cable that goes into a USB-C charger and it doesn't charge, that's your reason why. So cable aside, you get a charger. And here we go. Output 5 volts, 1 amps. That's because the battery is wanting 5 volts to charge, and USB-C can do 5, 9, 12, 15, and 20 volts. Maybe some others. And sometimes the 12 is taken out, because I think they took the 12 out of the standard. Ooh, belt clip. Belt clip goes on the battery, which is possibly a good thing, possibly a bad thing. The reason why is when I take this battery off to charge it in the accessory charger that they may or may not make sometime in the future, I've also lost my belt clip on my other battery. So every battery needs to come with a belt clip. It is what it is. And antenna, and this says 136 to 174, 400 to 470, so it's your typical dual band antenna. It is an SMA female antenna and an SMA male socket. It's weird to say male socket, but that's because of our government friends. You can't make it easy to change the antenna. Motorola comes to the rescue and makes SMA reverse SMA. All right, all done. It's a pretty good looking radio overall. I like it, pretty good looking overall. It's actually kind of thick in the hands, which is good for taller people. I'd rather have a thicker depth radio than a taller radio, if that makes any sense. This one just fits my hand better. Owner's manual, let's see. Does this one tell us how to program a repeater? This is my gripe for manuals, so just bear with me for a second. See if my pet peeves are triggered. We made an addition to the manual. We fixed this TDR. Double guard close, double guard open. We're not going to tell you what TDR is, but there you go. There's a TDR function. Oh, another fix in the manual. Cleaning and maintenance, charging instructions. Nope. You must know how to use a ham radio before you use this ham radio. But you're getting it at a budget. You're getting it in a tiny box. And if you would like, there is a link in the description down below for How to Baofeng. A nice book you can find on Amazon that will go through a lot of those things. Or you can just subscribe to the channel and watch any of my future videos where I go over this, or any of my past videos where I go over this stuff, because I put out a lot of videos on how to ham radio. Let's take a look at the screen. First turn on together.
Mode.
Oh, that's a different person. We could do that again.
Channel mode.
How nice. I probably overloaded the microphone when I did that. Unnamed channel. So we're in channel modes. We need to switch over to frequency mode. Let me get some frequencies in there. Cool. The big bright scan button. There is a knob up top, and when I switched into frequency mode, it went into airband right away. That might be telling you something. It's in AM mode. That might be telling you something. Let's hit scan.
Scanning begin.
Scanning begin. Now you can kind of see the scanning speed on this thing. It gets the job done. You're not buying a scanner. This is a affordable handheld radio, and the screen went off, which is good because there's no reason to have the screen on when you're scanning.
Scanning stop.
So I hit the Scan button again. Scanning stopped. And we didn't find any airband. I'm not near an airport. I'm in the desert in the middle of nowhere, so I don't expect to find any air signals. There's an A and B button. So the A VFO is back colored in this lovely shade of dark blue, and the unused VFO, VFOB, is in black. So when you switch, the blue switches to tell you which one you're on or not on. Okay, I get that. That works out pretty good.
Menu.
The home button. This menu in this font looks like, typical radio on a chip stuff. So start off at 0. We can change the squelch. We can change the modulation between FM and AM. That's actually pretty cool. So I can pick what I want to listen to. So I can listen to AM on a frequency. Let's try something crazy. Ooh,
1, 4, 6, 5, 2, 0.
Okay, can I change the mode?
Menu.
I can. And I'm going to change that to AM.
Confirm.
Excellent. Now I'm going to turn on my other radio over here. And I'm probably going to break some unwritten rule here, but we're going to do it anyway for science. Let's change this over to frequency input 1465200. Y'all already know what I'm doing with this. Where is my microphone? It's hiding out back here. I want to change this over to AM mode. I don't really need to hear what's going on. And we're going to take a look at the Radioddity radio, which is currently set to... Is there an easy way to turn this thing on without activating a menu? There we go, 146.52, and it's on AM mode. KM9G testing, KM9G testing. And it heard it, but we didn't get any audio out of it. I'm in the same room. I don't want to echo too much. KM9G testing, KM9G testing, testing, testing. I can hear it coming out of there on AM mode. Good. Can we do sideband and still hear it? KM9G testing, KM9G testing. No, not really. However, it's an interesting test to do something like that. Sometimes when you have it in AM mode, you can hear one of the sidebands. You heard it come through on the signal, but I couldn't actually intelligently figure out what it was. So there you go with that. So let's see. Volume knob doesn't activate the display again.
Menu. Confirm.
Let's see.
Confirm.
I'm going the wrong way in the menu. This is something that Chinese radios do. In order to go up in the menu, I need to go left with my button. And my Western brain says in order to go up in the menu, I should go counterclockwise. I should click right to go up. I feel like I'm going backwards through the menu.
Menu.
So there's step, squelch, arcs. I'm still going backwards. Step, transmit power, high, middle, low. We'll do some power tests here in a bit. Save, normal mode, and super mode.
Save mode. Confirm.
And there's nothing in the manual about that, I am sure. Let's take a look. Save mode. Oh, battery saving, power saving. There is something in the manual about that. That's pretty cool. Super saving. Usually what that means is it's going to listen a little bit, then go into power saving mode, then come back on and listen a little bit, then go back into power saving mode again. So you'll get some extended battery life out of it. Vox is good. I can do that with digital modes without having a PTT switch. However, the Toad's digital interface will allow you to do the PTT stuff with the right cabling. And we're going to make it easy for you here coming up soon.
Menu.
Wide or narrow. ABR. ABR. Auto backlight. Background light is always on. Yep. That's what I thought that was. TDR. I might as well just keep this open as we look through this thing together. Some of this stuff is super easy stuff. Oh, that's that double guard close, double guard open stuff. I have no idea what that is.
Menu.
Beep prompt.
Beep. Confirm.
Okay.
Beep prompt. Confirm.
It's nice that it's giving you a lot of voice, but it still needs a little bit more. Like when I do this,
Beep prompt.
it should say off.
Confirm.
Confirm. Because I just clicked from beep to the next menu option. What's the next menu option after the one on the screen? I don't know. So as a light dependent person, I can tell what that is because I can read it. It says timeout timer. Okay, great. That's going to kick off my screen. No, it's going to kick me out of PTT. Even better. It could have gone either way. So I can't just like mash down the key and occupy the repeater for 2.5 hours of filibustering. You guys know who I'm talking about.
Menu.
Memory channel. Cool. I can pick memory channels.
Memory channel.
Awesome. I can delete memory channels. This is typical programming stuff. I can set my receive tone, so I will only hear things that have this tone. Where you, without a tone, will hear things that have this tone, and also everything else. I will only hear this.
Menu.
DCS is a different kind of tone. It's a digital coded squelch instead of a sub-audible tone. Transmit, same thing. You will hear all of my transmissions if you don't have a tone set, and if you do have a tone set, you will only hear my transmission if you have that same tone that I have.
Menu.
And this is good for getting into repeaters and stuff. Voice priority. Why does it say priority if it says encryption? And those are probably scramble modes. Let's double check. Our company's special encryption method prevents eavesdropping on frequency interference by others. Encryption isn't allowed in ham radio,
Menu.
but scrambling, voice inversion, stuff that's ridiculously easy to decrypt is totally allowed. Channel name. Oh, you could name channels.
Cancel. Cancel. Cancel.
I am in VFO mode. Is that why?
Channel mode. Menu.
Oh, yes. So if you are in memory mode, you can edit the channel name. And if you are in VFO mode, frequency mode, you cannot edit the channel name. Okay, cool.
Confirm.
I didn't want to edit it. Roger beep. Must turn that on.
Confirm.
And you get that 1200 tone. Nice. That 1200 tone is good for some foreign repeaters where it will close out. It will let you know that I am done transmitting and the repeater will shut you off. That's pretty cool stuff. I haven't run into a repeater that does that, but that's pretty cool stuff. I'm going to leave the Roger beep on just to annoy people. Voice on or off. I'm going to turn it off. Oh, you can pick languages. That's probably the screen language. I'm going to turn the voice off.
Confirm.
Which it then tells me that it's turned itself off. Let's see how well that works. So nothing there. Yep, your choices are English or characters. I'm being silly. Don't take offense at it. Busy channel lockout will prevent me from transmitting on a channel that is currently active. SC Rev, that's your scanning type stuff. Does it tell you what the different modes are in that? Oh, thank you. SC Rev, there we go. Time scanning or carrier scanning. Pauses when it detects a signal, and after staying stopped for about 5 seconds will continue scanning, even if the signal is still there. Carrier scanning is the opposite. It will stop and it will stay on frequency as long as there's a carrier. The two-way radio pauses scanning when a channel is detected and keeps it on the same frequency until the signal disappears. That's what I just said. There is a 2-second delay between the disappearance of the signal and the resumption of scanning to allow time for the response to begin transmission. So like you could take a breath. Nice. PF2, those are your programmable function keys. So 1 and 2, you can have PTT, or you can change it to TX power, which is what this is set to. Let's see, we have radio, which would be your PTTB, SOS, NOAA weather, search, scan, transmit power, or radio. What is the radio setting? I bet that's like AM, FM radio. I'm going to leave it on TX power and then totally forget that I did that later when we do the power test. Long press, so you can do the same thing. Oh, you can turn on the flashlight or the alarm. So there's a couple of extra menu options in here. TX power, radio, PTTB. That's this button down. That's this button here with a long press. SOS, NOAA, search, scan, TX power, radio. It said there was extra stuff. It said you could do the flashlight. You lied. PF3, this button down here without a number on it. So let's see, scan, search, TX power, radio, SOS. You know why there's no flashlight on here? Because there's no flashlight on the radio. I mean, maybe that little LED, but that's kind of cheesy. Offset, this is for operating repeaters. So you can set in a programmable offset. And then this is the direction that you want the offset to go, either up in frequency or down in frequency by that multiplier. Some repeaters are up, some repeaters are down. Power on message is logo or voltage, or logo or voltage. We're gonna stick with logo. S code, what is S code? Send, set or send DTMF codes. Okay, so can you do DTMF? So let's do, why did it do that? That's a hell of a shift right there, look at that. That's your crossband repeat stuff going on. So KM9G testing. Yeah, so you can't do DTMF natively. You got to program them in. That's fine. I mean, I prefer to do DTMF natively. DTMF off, bot, beginning of transmission, end of transmission, or both. So I want to leave it off. DTMF ST. What is the ST? prompt when press key to transmitting DTMF, or you can transmit your ANI, your automatic number information, or you can do both. Okay, auto lock, nice, don't want auto lock. Scan ads, you can have channels that are scannable and not scannable. There's your tone for opening up repeaters that need that feature. PTT LT, delay the time before automatic DTMF transmitting. Okay, menu exit time, that's what's been getting me right now. And I'm gonna set that up 20 seconds. That way I can keep talking to you guys. Vox delay, in case you needed a delay before you PTT. After you PTT, after a voice is heard before the transmitter goes active. RPSTE. Oh, squelch tail elimination. Yes, that's cool. So you can set that. RPTRL, that's your relay time. MDFA, this is how you get to show your name or frequency in your channel mode up here on your A VFO. And then on the B VFO, squelch tail elimination is on or off. AL mod, that's your alarm mode. So you can do it on site, so it just makes a loud noise where you are. You can have it send sound or send code, which is actually going to transmit when you go into alarm mode. I don't use the alarm. There's your scramble, which is your potential type of encryption. I did a video on that as well in the past, just showing what it sounds like. Noise reduction, that's pretty cool. Reduce background noise. Bluetooth, awesome. So is that Bluetooth for programming, or is that Bluetooth for disable all Bluetooth, enable Bluetooth? Okay, that's not what I wanted to push. Noise reduction's on. Bluetooth is now on. So I'm hoping that that's programming and audio, but we'll find out. Reset, and there's my versions. 003 and 100 for hardware. Pretty sure I won't be able to change the hardware version myself. Excellent. Pretty cool options in the menu there. Let me know if you want to see any of those menu options in more depth in a future video in a comment down below. All right, I've got my tiny SA on the workbench. That means it is Spurious emissions test time. This is a really awesome 3D printed case. I say that every time I get it out because it is that awesome. I love it when plans come together like this. I'm going to need my attenuators, and I run two 220 dB attenuators, and the reason why I run 220s instead of 140, which I also have and have done in previous videos, is because the 140 doesn't fit in this case, so I have 220s. And what I do is I plug these directly into the radio, and I plug the radio directly into the tiny SA, and then we do all the setup parameters. I've got a video on how to do all the setup parameters stuff out there for you guys to see. So I'm going to kind of breeze past that, and we're just going to get right to the results. So now we run our test, and this is low power, and it takes a minute for this thing to kind of sort itself out and figure out what's going on. And this is why we test at different levels, because it looks like it has failed on the low level test. Okay, so now I need to change my radio from low power to medium power, and unpause the sweep, and those will all disappear. See, it even takes a second for them to disappear. I haven't pressed anything on the go button yet. And that's because it's doing a bunch of signal averaging and math and all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's give it some juice on medium power. Starting to show up. It is above the line. All right. Looking like it's not good there either. Put in the bigger attenuator first, and then the two smaller attenuators. 40 plus 20 plus 20, that is 80. And then we need to account for 80 in our test. So we do level, external gain, minus 80. And all this is really doing is protecting the tiny SA and then adjusting the numbers on the screen so that they're still sane. And then we need to switch that into high power mode, which it's now in high power mode. And we'll run the test again. Okay, and everything is above the blue line. The blue line is down here hiding at the bottom. All right, so that's 3 different power levels and 3 different failure levels. Now for the test that we can only do outside. We want to see how good the display looks, and we got to test the SWR. And I can't test it inside because I'm too close to any metal area, which is actually going to cause reflection as the signal bounces back off of the metal things into the antenna also. Let's get around and take a look at power output and display. I'm in relatively average sun conditions. I'm kind of sitting in the shade right now. Let's take a look at the display, and there she goes. How does that look outside for you guys? I can read it. The camera probably is not picking it up as well because the camera likes to focus on the reflection on the screen. But I can see 146.520 on the top, 433.525. It looks pretty good. Let's get it into some sunlight, some backwash sunlight there. The sun is over there. That same sun is directly on it. I can still see it. I mean, it would be better if I was indoors, but I can still see it. 146.52, 433.525. I can read the white text on the black background. It's not terrible. To tell you the truth, it's actually a little bit better than I thought it would be, but The reason why I've got this big old thing on here, you guys are probably wondering, this is my SWR and power meter. And so we're gonna check SWR and power, and I've got it set to, what do I got it set to? I've got it set to, well, now that I push the button, high power on 146.52. And we're putting out 5.96, somewhere around 6 watts, 1.04 to 1 SWR. Let's do low power. Low power is also 5 watts. Really? Yeah, 5.57, 5.50, 5.52. So yeah, interesting. Medium power, 5.64 watts, interesting. Not changing any power levels over on this guy here. Let's do the A band, the B band. Now we're on the B band and BTX, okay, perfect. 433, 525, why not? Oh, SWR is horrible. 8 watts SWR, but 10 watts on the power output. Interesting. Let's do power change to low, 6 watts on low, okay. Power change to medium, and 9.48, 9.51, 9.56. So still somewhere around 10 watts on medium power, and still pretty bad SWR on 70 centimeters. So very interesting that we have gotten all the weird power ratings that we have gotten on this thing. What do y'all think about that? All right, so I have a special antenna on here because this is supposed to do something special, and I'm typing in a frequency and I did it wrong. There it is, 350. 350 transmitting. It says BTX on the top there for you too. And that, like I said, dummy load, so I'm not violating any rules, don't come after me. But it'll do that, and it's also supposed to do 220, which I have no 220 traffic in my area. Yep, so it will transmit on 220 megahertz. So it is a 2 meter, 1.25 meter, and 70 centimeter radio, as well as a 1 meter radio, but 1 meters is not a ham band in the US. A little dirty, does have Bluetooth programming. Didn't really get into the Bluetooth programming much in this video. If you guys want to see that in a future video, let me know. Other than that, as usual, there are going to be links in the description down below for some more information. And there's been a lot of clean versus dirty radio talk, and I do it myself all the time. And this one here, they've all been dirty, including this one, as opposed to the other one where they've all been clean, except for one. A big truck coming behind me. It's an 8-mile-an-hour speed limit. I think he was speeding. So more information in the description down below, more videos you might like over here. Hit that subscribe button on the way out the door, and thank you for being awesome.